Hello, everybody. This is Crypto Market Prediction with CoinGame TV. My name is Akash, and today we're going to be discussing the state of the crypto market, and we're going to discuss Bitcoin, ETH, XRP, and Aave. Right. So let's start from the top. Let's start from the macroeconomic outlook, right, and how the macroeconomic policy from the U.S. specifically has caused a lot of uncertainty in the stock market as well as the crypto markets, right? So I think the uncertainty, and when it comes to Bitcoin, over the past 5-6 months, Bitcoin has been moving sideways, trending down. So this uncertainty is mainly because of the macroeconomic policy, right? The Fed is hoping for a safe landing, but like although the inflation has kind of trickled down, you know, the interest rate has also trickled down, right? But a lot of people aren't, believers that the Fed will get it safe landing, right? So with that in mind, right, that's one of the reasons why the macroeconomic policy is affecting the markets, right? The second reason for the uncertainty is the political events, right? The U.S. elections that are happening that will play a pivotal role, especially for crypto, right? As long as Trump was winning, the markets were borderline bullish, but as the odds have come have kind of turned bearish, and the selling has ensued. So right now, traders are unsure what to expect. Right, so the price either has to go up or down. Right now, we're in like an intermediate state where the price is basically moving sideways. Right, so let's discuss these outlooks. Right, when the price is going to be bullish, or when the crypto markets are going to turn bullish, and when the crypto markets are going to go bearish. Right, the first outlook, I'm going to discuss the bearish one, right, because it is something that I wrote yesterday. Right. So as you can see here, in 2007, right, September, the Fed, exactly on September 18, 2007, the Fed cut interest rates by 50 basis points. And after that, the price kind of rallied a little bit and then formed some sort of a local top here. And then the market slipped into the Great Recession of 2007, 2009, right? So the just before the Fed interest rate cut, right, there was a massive crash that took place right from mid July all the way up to the second week of August. And if you look at it, is eerily similar, right? The markets crashed, approximately 10%, and then there was a massive V-shaped recovery. Right now, the price is hovering just below the all-time highs, right? So if we get a similar outlook, right, I think there's a good chance we could potentially go down, right? And this outlook falls in line with a lot of people who are expecting a recession to kind of kickstart. So this is the bearish outlook, right? And all of this depends upon the Fed's interest rate cut on September 18th and how that's interpreted by the market. The FOMC, the NFP, the non-farm payrolls and the jobs data that was released in the previous month was kind of viewed as a negative, like a weak market. I think that happened somewhere in July, yeah, in August, which was kind of viewed as negative, like a weak economy, that it represented weak economy, which kind of caused the market to have that initial bearishness. But when the Bank of Japan increased the interest rate by 25 basis points, I think that's when everything, all hell broke loose, causing this massive correction. So we're at a very pivotal point in history where the bull rally, right, except for the COVID stuff that happened. Yeah, there was one small correction here. And yeah, basically investors, a lot of the people are speculating on a recession and how eerily this particular outlook resembles 2007, 2008 financial crisis, right? This is the bearish outlook for Bitcoin. The bullish outlook, I think, is posted by this particular person on Twitter, right? He basically goes on to show that the current outlook, the current price action for Bitcoin is very similar to what was noticed in 2017. The 2017 US election results were announced here, and just before that, the 17 months, right, there was a massive rally followed by a consolidation trending downwards, right? It's exactly like it's really similar to what's happening right now as well, right? Price ran up for 17 months, then correction slash consolidation for 5 months, and according to this person, next day he or she or they are expecting a massive run up after the US election. Right. So this is the bullish outlook. But let's take a look at the important BTC levels. Right. From a weekly time frame perspective, I think the 41K to 43K has been pretty pivotal. Right. This consolidation here was followed by a massive run. These two levels are going to be pretty important if Bitcoin slips into a recession, right? I think this is the first stopping point, and the second one is the monthly support and resistance level from 27K to 30K. So these are the key levels that I'm looking at for Bitcoin, right? Regardless of what happens, be prepared for both scenarios, right? That's all that we have for Bitcoin on a higher time frame from macro perspective. Right, so let's move on to Ethereum next and see what's happening. On a daily time frame, you can see that Ethereum, since the Ethereum Foundation sold ETH, right, on 23rd August, the price has dropped 14% and is currently hovering around 2.5K. Right, in doing this correction, right, Bitcoin, the Ethereum price has managed to collect the liquidity resting below these higher lows, right, which is a good place. So right now, Ethereum is basically anticipating a rally. In my opinion, the Ethereum has a pretty good chance of rallying higher, right? I think we have this H4 FVG here, which is something to pay attention to as it kind of coincides with this breaker, right? So I think we have a good level here, or range, kind of extending from 2490 all the way down to 2475. I think this is a good place to explore longs. Right. So again, from a 4-hour time frame perspective, the 26K seems like a pretty good place to book short-term profits and await the NFP data that is scheduled to take place on September 5th/6th, depending on the time zone. So yeah, I think right now Ethereum is in a pretty good place to trigger a potential bounce here. So that's what I'm expecting. Ethereum, not a lot of interesting stuff happening here. On a 1-day time frame, right? If you look at the RSI, it is recovered from the oversold conditions, knocked on the 50 mean level once, and sloped down. You can see the bullish momentum is increasing as depicted by the awesome oscillator. I feel like the next particular move, RSI is going to trend higher above 50, and awesome oscillator is going to creep closer towards the zero mean level. I think we're going to see some sort of a correction where the RSI 50 level holds, and then the price moves higher. Same here. Right, as you can see, quite a few examples, right? In here, RSI explored from the oversold conditions, came here, retested the 50, move above it as awesome oscillator crept closer, and once RSI broke out, the awesome oscillator also saw some sort of a breakout. Right, but the price follow through wasn't there. Only after like a second retest and a dip below the 50 level did the price continuing moving higher. Right, so right now I think we might see a little different outlook where the price is going to first go higher, retest 2618, come back down, support, then move higher to approximately 3K. That's what I'm expecting from Ethereum. So moving on, let's take a look at XRP next. Right, an interesting thing about XRP is that XRP has outperformed Bitcoin since start of 2024, and quite a few altcoins, right? XRP has outperformed, and it has shown considerable strength. Right, as you can see here in this particular chart on a daily time frame, XRP price has had recurring visits around the 0.716 daily resistance level, and it has gotten rejected once, twice, thrice, and I think there's a good chance we might revisit it again. But I think all of this depends upon how we interpret the upcoming non-farm payrolls data, right? In July, it was interpreted as bearish, July 29th, right? Somewhere around that, the last week of July. And right now, it's really important, right? Because the Fed's dual mandate is jobs data as well as the keeping inflation in check. So if the jobs data comes in lower than expected, I think we can expect the markets, the risk on assets to kind of crash. If comes around expectations, I think we might see a short-term spike in buying pressure, a short-term rally, and then the market slips back into consolidation again. If it comes in higher than expectations, right, higher than forecasts, I believe there's a good chance that the markets are going to rally, at least in the short term, right, until the rate cut decision on September 18th, right? So if the third scenario happens where the jobs data comes in harder than expectations, then you can expect XRP price to bounce off of this daily support level and then retest 0.626, right? Only in like a long-term outlook where Bitcoin price overcomes 70K, I think that's when we can expect a sustained move to 0.71. But for now, I think XRP kind of looks pretty bad. And if you look at the yearly VWAP, XRP is kind of getting supported by the yearly VWAP. I think once we kind of lose the yearly VWAP as well as get rejected by the daily resistance at 0.566, there's a pretty good chance we could come down to the lower limit of the VWAP and consolidate here. Right? It's kind of not unheard of. Every time price is supported by the yearly VWAP, then it comes down, it retests the lower limit of the yearly VWAP. So that's what I'm expecting, right? Again, as I said, it all depends upon how the markets react to the non-farm payrolls and how Bitcoin specifically reacts to that. So the next coin I'm going to be discussing is Aave, right? Because these coins have, I mean, except for Ethereum, I think XRP and Aave have really stayed consistent in their performance, right? So I've already drawn a couple of trend lines and a couple of drawings here. Let's start with the first one, which is the fixed range volume profile. The fixed range volume profile has played a pretty important role, right? If for the first half of this ranging, right, that took place approximately more than a year, in the first half, we kind of stayed below the point of control. And again, the upper limit of the volume profile is value area high, and the lower limit is called as the value area low. The center point is called as a point of control, right? So what this means is that when you draw a fixed range volume profile at a particular price range, it will outline the value area, which is the 68 to 70%, depending on the settings. Right now, my settings are 68%. 68% of the total volume traded from this point to this point was traded between these ranges. And these ranges are pretty important and kind of helps you develop a bias, a directional bias, right? So the value, which is where the highest volume was traded for the entirety of this particular range, right? So the first half of volume profile, the first half of this consolidation, price stayed below the point of control, which shows that the bears were kind of dominating. Any retest of this one, price either consolidated or rejected immediately, right? So in the second half, I think from October 2023 is when Aave recovered above this range and used the point of control as support and has been trending higher since then. So right now, Aave is sitting around the upper limits of the yearly VWAP, and there is a daily FVG here extending from 113 to 117, which is very key. And we're getting rejected by this daily breaker after forming an SFP here, right? So on a 1 hour time frame, I think this is a really good pivot point. You can expect price to do something like this, retest this, and then come back down, consolidate here at the upper limit of the yearly VWAP. Right. Also, this is where a lot of demand zones and order blocks are present here. So I think you can expect like a decent 6 to 7% move from Aave that you can catch on an intraday basis. So that's all I have for today in the crypto markets prediction with CoinGate TV. If you enjoyed this video, please and stay tuned for the next episode.